You thought the nightmare ended when they walked away. But for a narcissist, the discard isn't the conclusion. It's the opening act of a script they've been silently writing, where you're cast as the lead in your own unraveling. They don't need to be present to keep hurting you. All they had to do was plant a few seeds. You're not good enough. No one will love you the way I did. This was all your fault. And then they leave, hoping you'll do the rest of the destruction for them. They don't hope you grow. They don't want you to find peace. What they hope for is that you'll spend the rest of your life inside an invisible cage they built, doubting your worth, questioning your reality, battling voices in your head that sound like your own, but were actually theirs, disguised as yours. If you've been exhausted in your healing journey, wondering why the pain still lingers even though they're gone, this video is the mirror that reflects the truth. They don't have to hurt you anymore. The pain you carry is doing it for them. In this video, I'll reveal the 8 things narcissists secretly hope you will do after they discard you, and how to do the exact opposite, step by step as you reclaim yourself. Subscribe to the channel and watch to the very end, because the ultimate revenge isn't rage. It's the peace they never wanted you to find. Part 1. They hope you'll destroy yourself, piece by piece. The narcissist doesn't just want to leave you. They want to walk away with the assurance that you'll never stand on your feet again. They don't need to be around to keep destroying you, because if they did their job well during the relationship, they know you'll finish the job yourself. Famed psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula once said, "Narcissistic abuse isn't about physical scars, it's about psychological programming. Where they leave, their programming stays." And that's exactly what they hope for, that the software they installed inside you will keep running even after they're gone. They hope you keep the voices they embedded in your mind. You're not good enough. You're too sensitive. You're the problem. And you repeat them like a toxic mantra, carving away at your sense of self every time you do. Psychology calls this the internalized abuser, when the abuser is no longer outside you, but now lives inside your own inner dialogue. You blame yourself as you question your instincts. You deny yourself happiness for someone who isn't even there anymore. Dr. Judith Herman, author of Trauma and Recovery, warned, survivors of psychological abuse often carry the voice of their abuser long after the abuse ends. Recovery begins when that voice is identified, challenged, and replaced. In other words, you cannot heal if the narcissist is still living in your head. So how do you break this cycle? First, you must understand, pain is a proof that you still love them. It's proof that you're carrying something that doesn't belong to you. Fear of failure, not yours. The belief that you're not enough, also not yours. The shame, the guilt, the self-blame, all of it, emotional debris from their psychological warfare. And the more you cling to those emotions, the more they win, because they don't need to be in your life to keep controlling your mind. The first step to freedom is learning to separate your voice from theirs. Write it down. The things you tell yourself daily, the thoughts that make you feel small, the beliefs you've accepted as truth. Then ask yourself, is this really my voice? Or is it the echo of someone who once needed you to feel worthless so they could feel powerful? Self-destruction doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it's believing every single day that you're not good enough. And the moment you begin to challenge those thoughts, to interrogate every toxic phrase still stuck in your psyche, that's the moment you begin to reclaim your mind. You couldn't stop them from discarding you, but you can stop them from living inside you. And that's their worst nightmare, that you'll realize you can rise, not in spite of their absence, but because of it. Part 2. They hope you'll regret leaving them. They don't just want you to leave in pain. They want you to leave in doubt. They hope that every step you take away from them carries the shadow of regret. Because if you don't regret leaving, if you are truly free and at peace, then the illusion of control they built begins to crumble. In the distorted world of a narcissist, your departure isn't just an ending. It's a wound to their ego. and that wound can only be soothed if you suffer for having dared to let them go. They can't stand the idea that you could thrive, even be happier, without them. They're not looking for forgiveness, not even reconciliation. They just want one thing: for you to regret walking away. Because if you don't, it proves they were never as important as they convinced themselves they were. And that is the narcissist's worst nightmare: being unnecessary. The fact that you can heal, grow, and succeed without them is an unforgivable insult to their fragile sense of self. So they'll do whatever they can to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. A pitying look, a whispered word from an old mutual friend: he really misses you. All these are carefully crafted tactics to trigger guilt and drag you into a spiral of second-guessing. But the regret they wait for isn't yours, it's theirs, projected onto you. They hope you'll fantasize about an idealized version of them that never existed. They want you to question your memory, to wonder if you were too harsh, to doubt whether the pain you endured was as real as it felt. Here's what you need to understand. Regret can be healthy when it leads to self-reflection, but it becomes dangerous when it's manipulated by someone else. When you begin to regret leaving someone who deeply hurt you, that doesn't come from love, it comes from unhealed wounds. It's the echo of codependency, where you once sacrificed your peace just to keep a dysfunctional bond. And this is the moment you must remind yourself of the truth. You didn't leave them to hurt anyone, you left to save yourself. No one walks away from someone who knows how to love. People only leave when their soul has been starved for too long. And if there's anything to regret, it's not the act of leaving. It's staying too long in a place that kept breaking you. The truth is, the regret does not belong to you. It's theirs to face, as they repeat the same toxic patterns with new victims, as they realize no one else has the patience to endure their games anymore, and eventually, in the isolation they themselves created, they'll be forced to look back at the only person who truly loved them: you. But by then, what they're left with is not hope, but a hollow void they cannot fill. You did the bravest thing. You walked away while your heart still cared, but your soul knew better. And there is nothing more powerful than choosing yourself over something that kept breaking you. So if they hope you'll regret it, let that hope die. Through your healing, through the smile you wear when you look back and no longer feel pain, through the peaceful days where your worth is no longer tied to their false validation, through the way you move forward without looking back, because you finally understand that your value was never in their hands. You owe them nothing, not your regret, not your pain, not your return. What you owe is to yourself, a life truly lived, free from manipulation and emotional chains. And that life, you are already building it, one free breath at a time. Part 3. They hope you'll waste your life trying to prove the truth. There's a cruel reality that only those who've loved a narcissist truly understand. You don't just have to heal your wounds, you also have to undo the lies they left behind about who you are. When they walk away, they don't just take the love, they take your right to tell the truth. They smear your name with quiet whispers, twisted narratives, and carefully scripted performances that cast them as the victim and you as the unstable one. And when you try to speak up, to explain, to defend yourself, to prove you're not crazy or toxic or broken, you've already walked straight into the trap they set for you. Why? Because while you're busy explaining, while you're hurting, chasing validation, exhausting your soul to reclaim your image, you're still orbiting them. Psychologist and manipulation expert Dr. George Simon once said, "The manipulator's greatest weapon is not aggression, it's getting you to spend your energy defending yourself. And they do it masterfully. They make you appear too much in the eyes of others, too emotional, too dramatic, too unstable. They provoke you into reacting, explaining, justifying, and the more you do it, the less control you have over the narrative. Here's the harsh truth. You cannot win against a narcissist in a game of manipulation, because you're not like them. You play with truth, they play with illusion, and when you try to win by their rules, you lose yourself. So what do you do instead? You let go of the need to prove, not because you're wrong, but because you don't need to be right in their eyes to be whole within yourself. True healing begins the moment you stop explaining who you are and start living as that person. You don't need to clean up their lies. You just need to clear out the belief that you must earn peace through explanation. One day, those who are meant to see the truth will see it. And those who refuse to understand, no amount of explanation will ever be enough. Hold your truth close. You don't have to shout it, just live it. Because what terrifies a narcissist most isn't you exposing them. It's you walking away, stepping out of their game, and living in a world where you no longer need to be believed because you already believe in yourself. Part 4. They hope you'll come back, but not because they love you. They let you go, they stay silent, they act cold, detached, even happy without you. But don't be fooled by the surface. A narcissist never truly wants to let you go. What they really want is for you to come back, on your knees and broken. The truth is, they don't want you to heal. They want you to miss them so much that you mistake pain for love. They want you to start doubting your decision, romanticizing the good moments, asking yourself, was I too harsh? Maybe they weren't that bad. And then it happens. You text them, you open old photos, you accidentally check their stories, you find a reason to reconnect. That's exactly what they've been waiting for. Not because they miss you, but because they miss the power. Dr. Ramani Durvasula said it best. Narcissists don't miss you, they miss their control over you. When you come back, you confirm that they're still the center of your universe, that all your efforts to break free were just temporary illusions, and they'll welcome you back, but not with love, with strategy, a sprinkle of sweetness, a hint of apology, maybe even a few tears. But underneath it all lies a dangerous, unspoken message. I still own you. They don't want reconciliation. They want repetition. They want the cycle to continue, this time with you more willing to abandon yourself. And if you don't come back, no, wait. They'll watch from a distance. They'll pretend not to care, all while hoping you'll get lonely, nostalgic, lost, and return the moment they need a new hit of emotional supply. So remember this, narcissists don't love you. They love that you're still hurt because of them. Every day you stay silent, live in alignment with your truth, heal, and walk forward with clarity, you shatter the illusion of control they built over you. You don't need to come back to close the chapter. The chapter ends the moment you stop waiting for them to read it with you. Part 5. They hope you'll forever doubt the light within you. A narcissist doesn't just want to hurt you during the relationship. They want to damage the way you see yourself. Even long after they've walked away, they saw your potential and they noticed your light the moment they met you. And that's exactly why they felt threatened, envious, and determined to dim it. From the beginning, they weren't looking for love. They were looking for a weakened reflection, someone they could stand beside and feel powerful. And if you shone too brightly, they had to extinguish you. If you were too strong, they had to make you doubt that strength. If you were kind, they twisted it into naive or foolish. Why? Is the moment you realize your own value, the moment you wake up and see that you can live, love, and shine without them. They become nothing, so they hope you'll forever second-guess yourself. You'll question your intuition. You'll blame yourself for the behaviors you showed in survival mode, the actions they carefully orchestrated just to pull you into their chaos. They want you to think, maybe it was partly my fault. Maybe I'm just hard to love. Maybe no one will ever accept the real me. That's their deepest and most insidious strike. It doesn't leave visible scars. It leaves an invisible void inside you, where your light used to shine. And that's what they hope for most, that even in their absence, you'll keep living in the shadows they left behind. But here's the truth. Your light never went out. It's just been buried under the smoke of manipulation and trauma. And every time you speak your truth, choose kindness, set a boundary, love yourself just a little more, that light flares back to life. They hope you forget it, but that light is the one thing they could never steal. Part 6. They hope you'll repeat the pattern with someone new. Once the narcissist is gone, they no longer need to hurt you directly. Instead, they're betting on this. You'll continue reliving the toxic relationship, but this time with someone else. They hope you won't heal, that you won't gain enough awareness to recognize the pattern, that you'll keep carrying the distorted beliefs they planted inside you, that love always comes with pain, that silence and self-abandonment are signs of devotion, that you have to sacrifice your identity to be loved. And when you meet someone new, someone who may look different on the outside but carries the same manipulative blueprint, you fall into the same cycle again. Why would the narcissist want this? Because if you repeat the pattern, if you continue getting hurt by others, it validates the false narrative they once forced upon you. You'll begin to think, maybe they were right. Maybe you really are the problem. According to Dr. Pete Walker, a leading expert on complex PTSD, until the original trauma is acknowledged and healed, we will subconsciously seek out similar dynamics, not because we want to suffer, but because we unconsciously seek resolution. And that's the danger. You're not repeating the cycle because you're weak. You're doing it because your wounded brain is unconsciously trying to find a different ending to the same story. But the narcissist hopes you'll never realize that. They hope you'll keep running in circles, jumping from one wound to the next, never stopping long enough to trace it all back to the root. So what can you do? Yalman, you must choose to pause, to have the courage to not rush into a new relationship just to escape the loneliness of the old one, to stay clear-headed long enough to understand that real love never demands you to betray yourself. You weren't born to repeat pain, you were born to break it. And when you do, when you see the pattern, interrupt the cycle, and rebuild your standards from your own self-worth, you don't just heal, you dismantle the entire system they once used to control you. Part 7. They hope you'll never trust anyone again. After all the damage they've done, the betrayal, the gaslighting, the cold silence that made you doubt your own mind. What do narcissists secretly hope will stay with you the longest? Not the pain, not the anger, but the doubt. Doubt in others, doubt in relationships, doubt in your own heart. They don't just want to destroy your trust in them, they want to destroy your ability to trust, period. Why? Because once you stop trusting people, you will never allow anyone to love you deeply again. You'll build walls, not to protect yourself, but to imprison yourself. You'll push away those who could help you heal, because you're afraid to be hurt again. And they know an isolated heart is a controlled heart. As Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, once said, the greatest harm of trauma is that it robs people of the capacity to trust in others, and trust in themselves. The narcissist knows that if they can rob you of trust, they'll still control your story even in their absence. Every time someone cares about you, you'll question their motives. Every time love approaches, you'll retreat. And like that, their influence lingers through the doors you shut out of fear. But here's the truth. Not everyone is them. Not everyone who walks into your life is here to manipulate you. Not every expression of love is a trap. Trust is not weakness. It is the evidence of healing. You don't need to open your heart to everyone. You just need to not close it to everyone. Learn to recognize the difference between intuition and trauma, between boundaries and fear-based barriers. Let yourself try again, not because others are always worthy, but because you are worthy of a new experience. When you dare to trust again, you're not giving power away, you're taking your power back, and that is exactly what the narcissist never wanted you to do. Part 8. They hope, eventually, they'll pull you back in. Don't think they've given up. Don't make the mistake of thinking it's over just because they left. For normal people, a breakup is an ending. For narcissists, it's a strategic withdrawal, just a pause in the game until the next opportunity to strike. They'll watch you from afar, not because they miss you, but because they need to know whether you're still easy to control. They'll reappear at your weakest moment, when you're tired, lost, lonely, and they hope that just one message, one familiar smile, one delayed apology will be enough to pull you back in. I don't think they've given up. A narcissist doesn't walk away. They disconnect temporarily, because in their mind you were never a person, you were emotional property, and what once belonged to them they believe will always be theirs, even if they were the one who threw it away. They can't stand the idea of you thriving without them, can't bear seeing you happy and free, and absolutely can't tolerate the loss of power they once held over you. So yes, they will come back, not with love, but with familiar weapons disguised as affection and remorse. They'll say everything you once longed to hear. They'll play the role of the changed person, but underneath the fresh act is the same old script. A refined manipulation machine waiting to restart. What you need in that moment is not to listen to them, not to assess whether they've changed, but to listen to yourself. You've come too far to turn back. You've hurt too much to believe that an apology erases the entire cycle. They're hoping you'll get tired of healing alone and come running back. But you must do the opposite. Turn that exhaustion into clarity and shut the door for good. Because the next time they return, it won't be another cycle. It will be collapse. But here's exactly what they don't want you to do, and therefore it's exactly where you must begin today. Step by step, reclaim yourself. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need closure in the form of a perfect goodbye. What you need is to turn inward to the place where your voice was once silenced by manipulation. You need to relearn how to trust your own intuition, the one they tried so hard to distort. You need to rebuild boundaries, not to shut people out, but to protect the quiet peace you're finally rediscovering within yourself. You must stop living in reaction and start living with intention. Allow yourself to grieve, but don't stay buried in sadness. Let yourself remember, but don't go back. Feel the pain, but don't withdraw from the world. Because the freedom you long for doesn't come from making them regret what they did. It comes from the moment you no longer care whether they do or not. You are not what they did to you. You are the person who chose to walk away, to heal, and to live in truth after everything. And if you're here right now reading these words, then believe this: you are awakening. And once you've awakened, no one can pull you back into the illusion they created. If you saw yourself in this story, hit subscribe to receive more empowering content to help you break free from narcissistic abuse and step fully into who you really are. And don't forget to share this video with someone who may still be stuck in the dark, because sometimes all it takes is one light to guide someone home